This is circles and circumference. A circle is the set of all points in a plane that are the same distance from a point we call the center. So every point that makes up this circle is all the same distance from this central point. The center is defined as a point inside the circle where all points on the circle are equal distance from that center point. The radius is the distance from the center to any point on the circle. So if I drew a line from the center to an edge, that is a radius. A diameter is the distance across the circle through the center. So it's a line drawn from edge to edge through that center point. The circumference is the distance around a circle. Pi, spelled Pi, is the ratio of circumference to diameter, and it is the same for every circle. It's represented by the Greek letter pi, which looks like two vertical lines with a wavy line sitting on top, and the value of pi can be approximated as 3.14 or 22/7. Now, the reason that we approximate pi is because in reality, pi is an irrational number that is never ending and non-repeating, which makes it difficult to work with. So we often work with these close approximations. A semicircle is half of a circle. If you can envision the full circle, anytime we say semicircle, we're talking about exactly half of the circle. The diameter of a circle is twice the length of a circle's radius, where the radius is 1/2 the diameter. We can come up with some formulas when we're looking for the diameter or the radius of a circle and we're given only one measurement. If we're given the radius measurement but we need the diameter, we can just double that radius to get the length of a diameter. Whereas if the measurement we're given is the diameter but we're looking for a radius, we can just take that diameter and divide it by 2 to get the length of a radius. So let's try finding a radius and a diameter in a couple of these examples. So in this problem, we're given the diameter of the circle, but we want to find the radius. So I would use this formula. I'm looking for the radius. So the radius is going to be the diameter divided by 2, or 20 divided by 2. So in this case, my radius is going to be 10 feet. Here I'm looking for my diameter, so I'm going to use my diameter formula. The diameter is the length of 2 radiuses. In this case, 2 times 7, so my diameter here is 14 meters. The circumference of a circle is equal to pi times the diameter, or pi times twice the radius. So I can use either this formula, pi times diameter, to get my circumference, or since the diameter is equivalent to 2 radii, I can do pi times 2 radiuses. Just depends on what information is originally given to me. So here I'm being asked to find the circumference of this frisbee, and they're asking us to use 3.14 as our approximation for pi. Since I'm given a radius, I'm going to use this formula. For pi, I'm using 3.14 times 2 times my radius of 5. And I can put that into my calculator, and I get 31.4 inches for my circumference. Here I'm being asked to find the circumference of this watch face, which is 28 millimeters in diameter. And I'm being asked to use 22/7 for pi. Since I'm given the diameter, I'm going to use this formula. I'm going to do 22/7 for my pi value times 28. So I can do this in my calculator by doing 22 divided by 7 times 28, or I can just make 28 into a fraction, give it a denominator of 1, do some cross-reducing, and 22 times 4 gives me 88 millimeters. And I'd have 1 times 1 on the bottom, which would give me a denominator of 1, which I'd get rid of, so I'm not even going to write it down. Here I'm finding the circumference of a pool with a diameter of 14 feet and being asked to use the pi button on my calculator for pi. Since I have a diameter, I'm going to use this formula here and do the pi button times 14, and I'm being asked to round it to the nearest tenth. Well, when I do that on my calculator, I get 44.0, which I'm just going to say is about 44 feet for the pool circumference. So here we have a roll of caution tape with a circumference of 31.4 inches. It's been used by some construction workers, and the tape has decreased by 10.5 inches in circumference. We want to know what is the best estimate of the diameter of the roll after the decrease. So it was 31.4, but some has been used up and it's decreased by 10.5 inches. So I'm going to subtract 10.5 from my circumference, and I'm now left with a circumference of 20.9 inches. Now to find circumference, I can do pi times my diameter. I'm looking for the diameter here, but I know the circumference, 20.9. And I know pi. I can use the pi button on my calculator. It's the diameter I'm searching for. This is the one I want by itself. So I'm going to divide this side by pi to cancel it out. I also then need to do it to the other side. And if I do 20.9 divided by pi, I get roughly an answer of about 6.7 inches for my diameter. So I'm being asked which one here is the best estimate for the roll's current diameter. 6.7 is closest to answer B, 7 inches. So that's what I would choose. In this last problem, I'm looking at a semicircle and being asked to find the perimeter of this circular region. So I'm just going to envision it as a full circle. If it was a full circle, I would use my formula, circumference equals pi times the diameter, to find my answer. But since for the circumference part here, I don't want a full circle, I only want half, I am going to take this and divide it by 2. So I'm going to find the circumference of a semicircle, do pi times 6 is my diameter, divided by 2. And I get approximately for that about 9.4 meters. Now the only thing I have to consider here is that since this is a semicircle and I'm finding the perimeter, I want to go all the way around the shape. The 9.4 meters takes me around the curvy part, but I have to add in the straight side too. So now I have to do 9.4 plus 6 for a grand total of 15.4 meters.